And hello, my fellow nerds out there. This is Oracle Nerd Richie, and welcome to Royal Order. This this is the demo version of Royal Order that I found on itch.io. The full game isn't out yet, but I found this one, and it actually gave me some Fire Emblem vibes. And I know it's not really Fire Emblem at all, but it just gave me those kinds of vibes, and I thought it'd be interesting enough to play to record for a video. But this is the demo version, so it's probably not. So it's not the full version yet. So, anyways, let's get started. Choose gender appearance. Oh, so you can male or female. Let's see, the Chabnit Arya. My lord, my liege, my lady. Oh, we can actually get different pronouns. So they, them, he, him. I'm gonna go with he, him for now. And I'm just gonna go with Richie, because that's who I am. Anyways, let's start. This fall, pirates of the utmost north are wreaking havoc all over the continent of Egrith. Vowing to bring an end to the endless plundering, 3 kingdoms send forth their royal heirs to the High Council, a powerful, influential faction of magicians, to plead for their help during the time of crisis. The High Council obliged, creating the royal order, and the heirs remain. However, political tensions are high as old grudges resurface between the 3 kingdoms. Oh yeah, this is definitely just Fire Emblem 3 houses, like no joke. And as the pirates continue to have their way, they are determinedly bound to reach their breaking point. You will soon join the High Council as their newest member. The journey ahead is riddled with obstacles, dangers, and secrets yet unknown. Can you put an end to this false pillaging whilst keeping the kingdom at peace, or will you bring nothing but war upon them? Each of your decisions will carry heavy weight. Take on only burdens you can bear. Oh, and we have different variations. Death endings come here, we seek you. Adventure, the recommended difficulty for the game, enjoy the occasional flavor of death. Story, you may not pass every single check, but death challenges will be almost impossible to fail. Let's just go with adventure. I'm pretty sure adventure difficulty would just be fine. Make no truce or treaty with foes. My words scatter unheard into the wind, drowned out by the sound of water beating against the side of the Venture. Oh, is that the boat I'm on? That's a really cool name for a boat, the Venture. I am the last one to walk on the gangplank galleon? And climb aboard a dozen sailors, then pull it up behind me and push the ship off from the dock, embarking us out onto the stormy sea. Every inch of the ship is filled with trembling refugees, clutching their last belongings or each other. Faint whimpering and soft cries can be heard, frosting an already depressing atmosphere. I turn around and gaze out behind me. In the distance, a plume of smoke rises beyond the hills. The Sval must have finally and regrettably put the chateau to the torch. So the last line of defense has been breached. Out of the way! Brace up for an aft! Ah! Frowning, I extend my arm and catch the woman just before she tumbles overboard. Thank you, my lord. She clings to me, eyes wide with fear and glistening with ushed tears. Her clothes are dirty and her skin is littered with fresh wounds. Our escape to the refugee ship has not been a kind one. Gangway! More sailors come barreling through, but I manage to pull us away just in time, so as not to lose our footing. With all hands on deck, lines are pulled as sails get furled. Weigh anchor, damn you! We're in their way. Come with me. I find the calmest place of the ship, furthest from the ropes, ladders, and mast, and herd of refugees together as best I can. Finally, the venture begins to move in earnest. The masts begin to creak as the wind catches in the sails, and the chains rattle along with them when the anchor is raised. Soon there is a distance between us and the land I called home for almost 2 decades. We are not clear of danger yet. I stare back at the shore, narrowing my eyes. Brace round forward! Straining my senses, I press against the railing to try and look out for any hostile movement, either small warriors charging downhill or rounding the bay in their longships. But no raiders appear, and the coast is getting more and more distant by the minute. I let a deep sigh of relief. My lord, are you well? No, I am not. But was that something I could so easily say after my adoptive parents fell into the pirates just days ago? What should I do? Let my anger show, remain composed, try to set the refugees' mind at ease. I think the best option would be to remain composed, because you have to at least look calm and collected for your refugees, for like the people that you're saving. So let's go ahead and remain composed. Dignified up. Our people, or fief? Hold up, what's that word even mean? Oh, fief, an estate of land, especially one held on condition of feudal service, a person's sphere of operational or control. Oh, so it's a law thing. Okay. Everything burnt away the moment this small warrior set foot on our lands. But I say nothing, holding on to my cloak as the cold wind whips around me. The composure my adopted parents had always been teaching me is all that's left of them now. Excuse me. I turn around to find a servant in fine livery. Livery? He takes one look at my expression and seems temporarily caught off guard. Speak. I was sent to find the house de Chapnit, my lord. The lord and lady de Varus wish to speak to you. I nod. Our kingdom was anything but small, yet with the ongoing war, our military had been split in two. We had no choice but to ask for foreign aid. When reports about approaching small fleet came in, House de Varus was the first family my father sent out a call for help to. Unfortunately, all they could do by the time their arrival was evacuate the survivors. Take me to them. At once, my lord. I follow my servant deeper into the belly of the ship. He leads me to a door guarded by two trepidatious guards wearing pins of the High Council. The Lord de Chapnit. The guard gives me a once-over, then lets us through. I step into the warmly lit cabin. The space offers a welcome respite from the cold breeze and spray of the sea outside. There are but a few people inside, guardsmen, nobles, and several children, all seated in benches to one side. The children huddle closely together under the blankets from the opposite corner of the room. Another door opens, a few more of them enter. Oh? Escorting them is another child, but he does not look like a refugee. I only manages to catch a brief glance before he pulls up his hood and leaves. White hair. He must be Richie. Oh? My train of thought comes to a halt as Lady Davers makes her way to me, smiling in such a way that somehow conveys joy, sympathy, and excitement all at once. Behind her looms a domineering figure of Lord Daveris. His gaze flickers past my shoulder, but doesn't find the ones he must have been expecting. Frowning, he steps forward. Where are your parents? Before I have time to answer, Lady Daveris swats her husband across his arm, the corners of his mouth lifting into a gentle smile, but but the coldness in her voice was anything but that. Don't interrogate the poor child. He has just gone through something positively terrible. But it is not too late to go back. Please, please, Elaine, you know what the scouts have said. Lady Deveris turns to me with a pleading look. Well, I hesitate. When we met previously, it was always in the company of my adoptive parents. This is the first time I am speaking as head of the house of the Chatnet, and not as a child. I take a deep breath. How should I tell them? Equivocate? Tell it to him straight. Let him down gently. Oh. Honestly, in this situation, I'd probably just let him down gently. That's probably exactly what I would do, to be honest. Consider it up. Wait, what does that even mean? Consider it? Is that like my stats? I'm afraid my parents passed fighting to give our people a chance to escape. Lord Deveris' expression turns grim, and his wife purses her lips into a frown. I'm sorry. Wait, Grimoire? Oh, so these are like stats. Oh, I can use behavior. Oh. Manipulative, charismatic, straightforward, intimidating, dignified, considerate. Oh. Oh, so this is like my stats of sorts. That's cool. I'm sorry. Don't be foolish, child. Don't be foolish, child. We are the ones who should be sorry. She lets out a long sigh and then motions for me to follow. Falling into step with her, I find myself led to the far corner of the room, stopping at a table set up with a warm meal. Please help yourself. You must be starving. Thank you. I am starving, but I have little appetite for the food offered. Nevertheless, for appearance's sake, I force myself to take a few bites. As it were, we are glad you are safe at least. And Neri will be as well. I blink, rummaging through my memory to match the name with a face, but come up empty. Yet the name was indeed familiar, so I attempt to guess. Your son, Neri Fail? She nods, as if noticing my lack of appetite. She pushes more dishes into my direction, but the small caring gesture makes me feel a tad bit better. He has been far too busy to visit your chateau with us in the past. Your parents have always wanted to meet him, but... Lady Deveris gives another threatening smile as she nudges her husband under the table to change the topic. He winces, and I politely pretend not to notice. Neri is occupied with his work in the High Council. In fact, he's been out and about so much, I doubt he even knows where his home is anymore. Well, he was recently promoted. I wouldn't say promoted, Thea. He has only been given a few new tasks. Her tone indicates that she is not particularly fond of his promotion. I take a gander as to why. Do you perhaps mean the Royal Order? With a sigh, she nods. The aristocrats forming the Royal Order have brought their own military with them, but their training leaves much to be desired at best. Neri instructs them while taking care of the council's new recruits. Sometimes he also joins the battles on the front lines. That explains her sour tone, but parents would like to see their children fight in this war. I see. Pursing my lips, I consider my next words carefully. After all, the High Council is my target, and the Deveris having direct relation to it might be the chance I've been waiting for. I actually... The door suddenly slams open and a guard barges in, his face as white as snow. Swallow longships! The word sweeps through the room like an icy wave. Everyone falls into a shocked, panic-stricken silence. How did they get here so fast? At once the guards spring into action, as does Lord Deveris. He places his hand on his wife's shoulder, gesturing her to stay to stay before rushing outside with the servant who escorted me here earlier. Lady Devers merely raised one elegant brow before following right after him as I do. As do I. Chaos reigns on the deck. Refugees are practically trampled underfoot as soldiers and sailors scramble to get into their positions. There are too many people, too many things, too much panic. I scan the crowd. Lord and Lady Devers have disappeared, although I can hear their voices rising above the din, trying to organize their forces. I need a better overview. My eyes catch the perfect spot across the deck. The mast! I push my way past the panicking refugees and dodge skillfully between two soldiers, grabbing hold of the rope and ladder that leads up into the mess of lines and sails above. Despite my exhaustion pulling at my limbs, I climb as fast as I can. From my new vantage point, I finally see beyond the milling heads on the deck. It takes me only a few moments to spot the colorful sails of the enemy longships coming from around the small island up ahead. They must have been waiting for an ambush. That means they're not the same Sval who attacked the chateau, a strangely reassuring thought. 3 enemy ships out front slice through the waves like knives, swiftly gaining it on the much more robust Venture. Get in position! Yes, sir! I spot Lord Devers in the stern deck, and he has armed himself with a wicked-looking rapier that sparkles using some kind of magic. The High Council's garrison soldiers, clearly the elite corps of fighters on board, surround him. He then spots me looking at the mast. How many do you spy, Richie? 3 full-size Drakkar ships. I can't read! 3 full-size Drakkar longships already embarked. Perhaps 2 more coming in, my lord. I chew on my lower lip, arriving to the same conclusion he must have just now. 5 full Hafna mean at least 300 Huskarls and Litzmen, perhaps more. A small raiding force in truth, but still twice the number of fighting men the Venture could hope to muster. They're gaining on us! Richie, get down from there! Lady Devers climbs up on the stern deck to stand next to her husband, surrounding her a cadre of High Council battle rangers. More mages than expected, to be fair, but each enemy longship would also have at least one, for the Sval never relied on strength of arms alone. Grasping the situation at hand, I hesitate for a moment. I could join the fight. Heavens knows our mages could use the help, but it is also quite apparent for me that nobody was going to take responsibility for the refugees aboard the ship. Without aid, they risk getting caught up in the crossfire. I look back at the approaching longships. The dragger leans over the sides of any ships, with the spears and axes and swords held high. A row of round shields lines up, all the emblazoned with the grasping tendrils of the holy black tree. In spite of distance, I can still hear chants. Afram, alt, Ferrier Bormer. A rhythmic beating of shields against shields carries easily across the waves, coming ever closer with every stroke of their oars. I need to make my decision now. Evacuate the refugees, join the fight. Oh, this seems like an important decision. Do we join the fight or do we evacuate? I don't think we're able to fight right now, so I think evacuating would be the safest bet. So let's go ahead and evacuate them. Plus water magic, plus light magic. What? There are already enough swords and spells in the fight. Someone must take defending the defenseless. I climb down and look around for refugees that came on board with me. I find them huddled close to where I left them, wide-eyed and worry. My lord, thank heavens. What do we do? Are we going to die after all? Calm down. Refugees crowd around me. Some lost sight of their loved ones in initial panic. Others are in danger of rushing off the side of the ship or into an attacker. But most are catatonic with fear. Whoa! I reach within myself and summon up the calm center of my core, letting it spread out to everyone I touch. The light magic rushes from my fingertips into their minds. All who came into contact with it settle down almost immediately. Bro, I'm a magic user! Well, then again, I probably should have assumed as much. Within a short period of time, the refugees finally form an oasis of calm in an otherwise disordered mess. Alright, pair up with the person closest to you. Head inside. The children are there already. Don't let go of your partner. I've got your backs, understood? Yes, my lord. As refugees disperse according to my order, the deep wail of battle horns call out, signaling that the assault is finally underway. Over the heads of the soldiers and sailors crowding the deck, I spot the colorful sails of the small longship surrounding the venture on both sides. A moment later, grappling hooks assisted by wind magic shoot out, tying the ships tightly together. Mages, fire now! The air above the ships becomes its own battlefield as an ever larger firestorm pushes forth. The battle mages on both sides fight for control. Sparks, smoke, and ash rain down from the warriors engaging in hand-to-hand combat below. From Prefir Boram! Lamar! Stop them from boarding! Throw them back into the sea! The berserker launched themselves into the ship with reckless abandon. First blood is drawn seconds later as a garrison soldier staggers backwards with an axe embedded in his skull. Jesus! Get going! Go! Move! I find more refugees hiding behind the crates and cowering on the low ground and command them to get up, calming their minds with more light magic before ordering them to flee inside where it is safer. Around me, men fall, Sval and garrison alike. I spy a few of obviously inexperienced soldiers standing in the back, struggling with what to do, and decide their manpower can be used more efficiently. You, and you. Huh? I clap the soldiers directly on the shoulder as they stagger forward in surprise. Go gather up the wounded. For a brief moment, they give me a confused look, but their wartime training soon kicks in. At once, my lord. Imbued with my new purpose, I scatter. Once all the refugees are out of the way, I set up a triage area in the back where all the fighting hasn't yet reached. My water magic does wonders to wounds of those not yet too far gone to be saved, while a light touches on the minds of those who survived eases their passage into the afterlife. I look up, wiping the blood of my forehead. The sails are burning, their ash raining down. The war cries of weeping are ceaseless. I feel exhausted from all this overusing my magic. So much so that until I'm finished tending to the wounds of a warrior, I don't even notice he is a Sval. He was so covered in blood the people dragging him here to me must not have noticed. I give a wry smile before trying to help him with whatever I have on hand. Your lucky day, Drager. Suddenly dizziness overtakes me as if the whole ship started to buck and weave. The sound of battle becomes distant and muted. The enemy's strength is too overwhelming. Men and women are dying around me in a fight I know we will lose. Let go of me! The frightening cry of a child carries across the battlefield, clearing my mind. Why isn't he inside? Biting my lower lip, I rush anxiously towards the cries. A small mage, well over 6 feet in height, stands at the stern of the ship, pressed against the railing. His body glows with runes and the snarling fangs of a wolf headdress frame, a face forged by icy bats of sailmen. I recognize him as the war chief, the leader of the whole expedition. Help! His foe is holding the white-haired child in one impressively muscular arm, while his other hand sparkles with defensive magic. Surrounding him on all sides are garrison soldiers, kept at bay by an air barrier. Damn it! Fools! I push and shove my way in front, right up next to the barrier, frantically trying to think of what to say. Sail, listen! Before I can finish, a sailor from the crow's nest cries out. The High Council sails! The Royal Order fleet! We're saved! This fall also seems to have noticed them. A new chorus of horns rise from the enemy ships. A call for retreat. The shaman holding the boy bares his teeth and growling. In a growl, I take a deep breath. The child is no part of this conflict, War Chief. Let him go! Before the shaman has time to reply, Lord and Lady Dervis make their way to the front and stand beside me. Lord Davis is bleeding from a wound on his cheek, while Lady Dervis' hair is singed. Otherwise, they both appear relatively unharmed. Let the child go at once. He brandishes his normal rapier in one hand, while the other glows with some strange magic as before, making my throat dry up. Do as he says. She mutters the preparatory words to a spell, and a ball of flame forms between her fingers. The spell hesitates, his eyes flickering over the men retreating step by step back to their ships. Soon he will be left behind. Close your eyes, Beringer. You... Instinctively, I squeeze my eyes shut. At once, a bright flash almost pierces through my eyelids. It's powerful, stronger than your regular elemental light magic spells, and I recognize it immediately as Lord Dravis' signature ability. Adiviant. When my vision clears, Lord Dravis is engaged in combat with the shaman. While the boy bringer lies prone on the floor, the air barrier surrounding them gone, I turn to Lady Deveris. Get the child, my lady. I will help. Curse you and all your thousandfold damned southerner! His growl shifts into a spell before anyone has time to react. The shaman's body glows with white with magic. Lord Davis' rapier slashes the man across the chest not once but twice, to no apparent effect. The shaman picks up Lord Davis as if he was no heavier than a child, holding him by the neck as magical sparkles travel up from his own body over that of the twitching lords. My lord! My staff! With just a single thought, it appears in my hand, heavy and wooden, but I know it won't be enough to penetrate the shaman's room magic as it currently stands. I move my hand over it, whispering a quiet spell with the ash wood grows, forcing one of the ends into a sharp spear. Let him go! Her magic bounces harmlessly off the shield that the warchief conjured around himself. Garrison soldiers rush forward, but the shaman sweeps them off their feet with a single blast of air, not even sparing them one look as he glares intently at Lord Deveris. You would have made a good sacrifice, southerner. The shaman manifests his magic with a bolt of hard lightning, and a wave of fear washes over me. Stop! He punches it into Lord Deveris' stomach. I see the light going out in his eyes as the shaman carelessly throws the lifeless body into the ground. My fear transforms into unbounded fury. War Chief! My shout causes the shaman to truly pay attention for me for the first time. He jerks around my person, and his eyes shoot open when he sees the spear in my hand. Roar! His runic protection flares out at the moment my spear touches his armor. It drives its tip through the bone, muscle, and sinew, straight through his heart. Briefly, our eyes meet. As they do, the anger in my heart melts away. My staff fades into the air, and the warchief collapses. Ellering, darling! With shaky legs, I step back from the corpse. Only a small distance away, Lord Deveris lies on the ground with an ugly, burning wound on his side. Beringer and Lady Deveris crouch next to him, the boy desperately trying to use healing magic. A clumsy attempt. The 12 warriors are retreating, leaving their dead and wounded behind. The Royal Order fleet ships approach. Some of them clears peel off to chase after the Sval, but the flagships is heading straight for the Venture. I fall on my knees next to Lord Deveris, taking his wrist to feel a pulse. To my surprise, I can sense it. Please don't die, my love, please. He's not gone, not yet. Give me some space. As everyone steps back, I press my hand to his wounds. I sense his life force only barely clinging to this realm. His flesh is seared black where the shaman had brutally struck him. Everything becomes a blur as I pour all my remaining energy into keeping Lord Deveris alive, forcing his heart to beat and his organs to work. Out of the corner of my eye, I noticed the boy, Beringer, standing close by, luckily unharmed in spite of it all. At long last, the Royal Order's flagship catches up to the venture. Wooden gangplanks are lowered between the ships, prompting refugees to move from one to the other. Medics stream aboard, but I'm too deep into the healing process of Lord Deveris for any of them to aid me. And yet, even in all the chaos, exhaustion surrounding my desperate struggle to keep the Lord alive, my instincts tell me to look up. Clad in crimson, a tall man crosses the gangplank between the ships. The sanguinary color seems to burn away the soot and the ash in the aftermath of the battle, forcing a breath of life into the weary environment. His raven hair blows wildly in the wind, yet it does not look a strand out of place, imparting the feeling that that's exactly how the person should be, fierce and untamed. With not a single redundant movement, the man confers his orders to the High Council sailors and soldiers. Then, as if noticing my gaze, he turns around and our eyes meet. "Who is this handsome-looking mofo?" I frown. The bright crimson in his eyes feel as though they pierces through my very soul, tearing out all my secrets one by one. A sudden burst of emotion flares in my chest. There's sadness, confusion, guilt, but also remembrance and anticipation, although I don't know what for. Lord Deveris coughs. His groans of pain pull me out of my melancholy, and Lady Deveris rushes to my side, tears in her eyes. By the time I gaze up again, the man is gone. Bro, this story is insane! This is just the demo? Oh, website. I skipped something. I skipped something by accident. Oh well. I look up and the face of the High Council healer slowly comes into focus. Her magic flows into Lord Deveris' body like a surge of flood water, completely drowning out the weak trickle of my own force. Relieved of my duty, I take a step back. The world briefly fades to black the moment I stand up. My mouth, rather, my whole body feels like a desert after a 100-year drought. Water. My voice comes out in a rasp, and another healer hands me a water skin. I drink greedily, and as I do, my senses slowly return to me. The sound of bells? Yes, my lord. We are no longer at sea. The bells chime a few more times before I finally register that we've docked. Ooh! Low voices murmur in the distance. I hear guards barking orders, the sound of the water lapping against the stone pier. At last, we arrived in the city of chimes, in all its glory. Lady Deveris, who never once left her husband's side, looks up at the healer. Will he? It is a miracle he is alive. He is still alive. Without magic, he would have perished within minutes. The healer gestures at me, a look of respect in her eyes. But the worst is over. Now, we just need to keep his condition stable. Fortunately, we have the best medical care in the world here in Chimes, Lady Deveris. A moment later, arms enfold me. I stare up into the crying face of Lady Deveris. She hugs me tightly, shaking like a leaf. Thank you so much, Richie. Thank you. I nearly fall over, causing her to pull back a bit. Worry written all over her face. What's wrong? Attempt to downplay my exhaustion, admit my exhaustion, exaggerate my exhaustion. I ain't gonna exaggerate. Just admit it. Just admit it. It's fine. Straightforward. A bit dizzy, but I will survive. I did not mention that in a few more hours, the choice would have likely been between my life and her husband's. Lady Deveris grips my hand in hers, squeezes lightly. What you have done today will not be forgotten. She hugged me one last time, then returns to tending to her husband. Feeling my knees to begin buckle, I stumble over the railing, taking in a proper look at my surroundings for the first time. Reaching all the way up to the water's edge, the delicate paving of stones would look more at home in a royal castle than a simple dock. I watched as garrison soldiers escort small prisoners off the ship, each one chained to another, but even as captives, the small warriors hold their heads up high. I recognized the small Dregner I healed by mistake, still covered in blood, but walking slightly more upright than most of his compatriots. The only thing that awaits them in the hands of the High Council is torture or execution. Such a waste. I turned my gaze to our refugees. Curiously, they seemed to be under almost as tight as guard as a wall. Soldiers stand watch as if to make sure nobody runs off. After registration, everyone is led to an area with tents set up at some distance away. Could they be afraid of spies? Among the tents, High Council alchemists mill about. I remember my adoptive father telling me about the truth serums they used on prisoners. The stories were anything but pretty. But they shouldn't use those on refugees. Just then, one of the garrison soldiers notices me and hastens my way, as if intending to make me join the line of refugees leaving the ship. I straightened up and suddenly apprehensively. Richie, it's time to go. Lady Deveris lightly touches my shoulder. The garrison soldier stops in his tracks before turning around with a nod. Your husband? He needs rest, but we can take him to the manor safely. Come now, our carriage is waiting. I do not protest as I follow her down the gangplank, bypassing a queue of refugees, and heading directly towards the carriage in question. Several guards carry the still unconscious Lord Draveris behind us. The carriage is large, but the men still need some time to arrange him in a comfortable manner. As Lady Draveris aids them, a certain instance tugs at my memory, and I turn around to stare back at the ships. Docked next to the Venture, and probably twice its size, is the Royal Order flagship. It's equipped with double rows of cannons and 4 masts in comparison to the Venture's measly 2. The sight reminds me of its captain, as if summoned by my thoughts, he appears. Still clad in the same crimson attire, he walks down from the ship, his eyes sweeping over the entire city. Despite the distance between us, I can sense something ravenous radiating from him. He eyes chimes like a future conqueror, not a citizen. His gaze nearly passes over me, but before it has a chance, his attention is drawn away by the 2 people awaiting him in the pier. Oh, she looks so beautiful! One of the 2, a young woman, stands with her arms crossed. Her hair falls gracefully past her shoulders, all the way down to her hips. That is long. My hair is not even that long. Like, jeez. Gleaming a beautiful shade of gold, as if woven out of warm sunlight. By contrast, the glimmering blue in her eyes and the cold expression in her face remind me of the deepest frost in winter. Ooh! Next to her stands a young man. Copper red hair frames his round face with sun-kissed skin. He beams with kindness that would give even the wariest a ray of hope where there is none to be found. With a gentle smile on his lips, he positioned himself casually next to a dignified woman at his side. The crimson-clad man approaches both with great strides. Yo! Dude, this looks awesome! They're all richly garbed and carry themselves with grace and poise, befitting royalty. The 3 together stand out like a cluster of colorful blooms in the middle of a field of drab brown. From where I stand, I can make out what they were saying, but their behavior shows they're all well acquainted with each other. The intimidating man in red commanded the Royal Order fleet himself, so perhaps they all belong to the same faction? If possible, I could ask Lady Draveris about this later. Richie, come, we're ready. Yes. I tear my gaze away from the three people in the pier and climb aboard the carriage. The carriage starts moving as soon as the coachman closes the door behind us. The ride wins its way outside the city, proper and up the hills, just beyond its walls. Although no longer strictly in chimes, the city lights stay in sight between the trees, and soon after we come to stop in front of the Draveris residence. Or Draveris estate. I can't read. We arrived, my lord. The face of the coachman reappears and the door swings open. I acknowledge him with a curt nod. Climbing down from the carriage, the exhaustion finally catches up to me. My muscles scream for clemency, and my eyes can barely stay open. With everything that has happened over the last few days, it feels as though a century has passed since I last slept. Oh, I can hardly even see her silhouette now. Escort the heir de Chabot to the guest chambers. Treat him as one of our own and give him anything he should want. And prepare the master bedroom. Lady Draveris strolls up to me and smiling gently. Only now I notice her face, the clothes still covered in soot and blood from battle. The fact makes me wonder what I must look like by comparison. Not much longer, Richie. My servants will get you to your chambers. Speak of revenge, remind her to rest as well. Insist a bath and a glass of wine is all I need to be cured. Let's go remind her to rest as well. I think the third choice is probably the better one. Consider it. I'll be fine, my lady. The best thanks you can give me right now, however, is to make sure you get enough rest too. I smile at her. Lady Draveris seems quite taken by my concern, promising to do just that with a quick nod. Although I have a feeling that is a fib. Then we part ways. Lady and Lord Draveris head off to the master bedroom, and I follow the servant to the guest suite. The estate is grand and warmly decorated, but I barely have the mind to take in the sights. After stepping into the room, I dismiss the servant and collapse on the bed, intending to rest my eyes for only a bit. My lord? I blink once and immediately squeeze my eyes shut again. The room is bathed in glaring sunlight. What time is it? It is almost noon, my lord. You have slept through the night. I sit up and grimace of my state of my person. It was less noticeable in the dim light of the night, but now dust, blood, soot, the sheets will need to be changed forthwith. We have drawn up a bath for you, and breakfast is served as well. Thank you. Afterwards, the young master would like to see you, my lord. The young master? Nerrifield? Yes, my lord. Understood. You may leave. With a bow, the servant leaves to me to my morning routines. Climbing out of the bed, the first thing I do is drag the wooden tub to the window so I can bask in the sunlight while washing myself and enjoying breakfast. My sweet face is towards the city in the distance. I peer at chimes, many bells tower rising above the skyline. A warm breeze carries over the murmur of the low voices. No doubt, the servants of the estate must already be at work. The rays of the sun coming in through the window do more than revitalize me than the food, and by the time I am finished, I almost feel whole again. I put on a change of clothes and leave my chambers. Right outside, a footman was waiting to escort me. As I silently walk through the rich corridors of the estate, I feel like myself for the first time in quite a while. Servants bow as I pass. Everything is so clean. quiet and orderly. In this place, there is no war, no threat, no fear. The foreman leads me to the door of the master bedroom. He knocks thrice, then ushers me inside, closing the door behind me. A few retainers stand quietly in the corner. Lady Devera sits next to the bed, but turns to me with a broad smile when she hears me enter. Good morning, Richie. I hope you slept well. I slept excellently, my lady. My whole person has been rejuvenated. I'm glad. I glanced towards the bed. Although covered in bandages and swaddled in blankets, I could see the slow rise and fall of Lord Deveris' chest. His wife follows my gaze with a sigh. Try to lighten the mood, ask how she is doing, ask about Lord Deveris' condition. Ooh. Let's ask about his condition. I think that's probably more important. How is he? Stable. The healers say it's best if he stays asleep for now. It will help him heal. Not to mention, sleeping will prevent him from experiencing the bulk of the pain. That's good. And you, my lady? Well enough. I even slept a little, once Neri returned. She glanced across the room as she says this. I finally take notice of the man standing next to the servants. Yo! He is fully decked in black from head to toe, the color indistinguishable from the retainers at first glance. Long yellow hair is tied into a braid that falls to its hips, neat and orderly. The leaf green of his eyes should have been calming, but his bright golden irises instead created a piercing effect alongside the green. Paired with his expressionless face, they make him seem entirely unapproachable. Crossing the room, Neverfield acknowledges me with a nod. It's good to see you. Richie, this is my son, Neverfield. Neri, this is Richie de Chapnet, our benefactor and the one who saved your father. I bow while taking a moment to study the young master of the house. Unlike the rest of the chimes, he dressed prepared for war, a sword buckled at his waist, an outfit worn practical rather than purely for fashion, and a pose that suggests a skilled warrior. When our eyes meet again, I realize that he is weighing me at the same time as I am him. Mother has filled me in on the details. We owe you a great deal. Despite his cold veneer of politeness, he sounds genuine in his statement. When Lady Deveris stands next to him, I do not question the family resemblance. If there is anything we can do other than giving you a place to stay for as long as you so choose, of course, you need only ask. Downplay my importance. I want a place to train. I will keep that in mind. Let's just say I'll keep that in mind. Manipulative? Wait, what? Seeing as the Chapnets are considerably reduced right now, your favor is a reassuring one. Nearfield nods. His face is inscrutable as before. At his side, Lady Deveris nods gently, but she is clearly distracted on top of being exhausted. Nearfield must have noticed too. Perhaps we can talk somewhere else? Of course. After a brief farewell, we leave the room. The halls are silent. An open window on the floor below lets in faraway voices from outside. Even so, the mood among the servants is somber. Thank you again. I meant what I said. We are in your debt. You may stay here as long as you desire, but do you have any other plans now that you are here in Chimes? Well, excitement stirs my chest. Against all odds, fate had finally brought me here. I know Nearfield. Now that is certain his father will pull through. We'll head out again in official business before long. He is obviously not a man with any enthusiasm for small talk, so I cut to the chase. I wish to join the High Council. What are the requirements? Nearfield stops in his tracks and gives me a look I find difficult to discern. Why are you so interested? I want to help people who got hurt. I want to stop this fall. I think the second option would probably be the better one. Yeah, let's go with the second option. I want to help those who have been hurt in the war. It is a simple statement to make, but because it is true, or at least it feels true. Nefiel stares at me quietly for a second, and then his lips twitch into the smallest of smiles. A good enough reason. Don't worry, I was merely curious. To answer your question, the High Council selects new candidates biannually. My heart sinks. Only twice a year? I'm pretty sure that's what it means. When's the next recruitment? In 2 weeks. You were in luck. Of course, not just anyone can apply. The High Council requires the careful vetting of even potential candidates. Only those impeccable character are allowed to register. I see. The Deveras will support your candidacy indubitably, but the High Council doesn't select its members based on recommendations alone. They only accept warriors and mages of the highest caliber. You will have to prove your skills yourself. I nod slowly, thinking back to the battle on board the Venture. Remembering the look of the war chief as I sank the weapon into his heart sends shivers down my spine. I hope the tests, whatever they may be, will be easier than that. Of course. Nefiel hesitates before glancing back at the direction of the master bedroom. Then he takes a deep breath. If you like, I can take you to the registration next week. I can vouch for you there as both the Deveras and as a member of the High Council's garrison. A high-ranking officer vouching for a quasi-stranger is no small matter. I understand this must be his way of showing gratitude, and his realization leaves me feeling quite conflicted. Thank you, Nefiel. Neri is fine. Alright, Neri. I have to go now, but I will be back for dinner. Understood. I'll see you then. After a short farewell, a servant escorts me back to my chambers. I watch as Neri gallops away towards the chimes from the balcony. Despite my best attempts to keep them at bay, a tidal wave of conflicting emotions surges within me, threatening to pull me up by the roots and whisk me away. Like always, when these feelings overwhelm me, I reach into the pendant around my neck, searching dimly for his presence. Lucius, are you there? Wait, what? Do I have a spirit with me? Nobody answers my call. Even so, I force my emotions to subside and replace them with determination. The High Council is what I've been aiming for. I need to focus. Regardless of what the entrance test may be, I have no doubt a keen sense of magic is required. Although I can command all 6 branches of elemental magic, outside of Rosencreutz clan, such a thing is completely unheard of. So it is my best interest not to let others know about it for now. Oh, so I'm like the Avatar. I'm mastering all the elements. Fire, wind, and water should be the safest to use in public. Time is of the essence. Now, how should I sharpen my skills this week? Weekly planner unlocked. You can access the in-game tutorials by pressing T. Oh? Oh! So now we're actually in the game. Cultivate your magical abilities. Write your story's progress. Read another story's progress. Oh, week 0. Okay, so now we're actually into it. So that was just a prologue. Oh my god, that took so long. Yes, I have 4 saves. Don't worry about it. I'm just going to save here. And I'm recording for almost an hour, so I think that's going to do it for now. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. Please leave a like, comment on what you think about this game, and let me know if you want to see more. And if you want to see more, or if you're just coming back on the regular, please do be a pal and hit that subscribe button and click the bell so you don't miss a single notification. And I'll see all of you in the next video. Goodbye.